So as of today, there are currently 4 really popular 60% keyboards in the market. The An Pro 2, Vortex Gear Poker, we got the glorious GMMK, and the Ducky 1-2 Mini. But what if you don't want to spend that kind of money on a 60% keyboard and still want something similar? Well, you clicked on the right video because that is what these two are. A cheaper version of those keyboards. But is it worth 65 bucks? Let's find out. Join the custom cooling revolution with the Corsair Hydro X series, featuring every part you'll need to make your PC stand out with a gorgeous custom cooling system. Experience powerful cooling with minimal noise, easy setup, and automated control for efficient fan and pump speeds. Choose from a range of water blocks for the latest graphics cards, including the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 and 2080 Ti. For more info, click the link below. So this is the RK61 wireless RGB mechanical keyboard. It comes in either white or black, and it's one of the highest rated 60% keyboards on Amazon. This is basically the keyboard everyone gets when they can't afford something like the Ducky 1-2 Mini, but we're gonna see if it's actually worth it. So these come in either blue, brown, or red switches, and the manufacturers of these switches are Kailh. Just like Cherry Reds, the Kailh Reds have a 2mm actuation distance and a total travel distance of 4mm. However, the biggest difference between these two switches is the force required to actuate. The Kailh Red switches are slightly heavier at 50 grams of actuation force compared to 45 grams of the Cherry Reds. To the untrained eye, you can't really tell the difference between these two. So the backplate is made out of plastic with minimal flex, and the keycaps don't experience a lot of wobbling, except for the spacebar and the shift key, which have some rattling present. Other than that, the build quality is great. Now the keycaps on these are made out of ABS plastic instead of PBT. However, they are using double shot injection method, which means that the legends on them won't fade over time. Now because the keycaps are made out of ABS plastic, over the next few years, the surface of the keycaps will develop a shiny effect. So that is something to keep in mind. I don't really like the font on the keyboard. Also, the numbers are really small, so it's kind of hard to read sometimes. If only they put the function keys on the side of the keycaps like they did with the An Pro 2 and the Ducky, then it will not only help make the keyboard look a lot cleaner, but they could also make the legend slightly larger since there will be extra space. Typing and gaming on this keyboard is very comfortable because of the arc design. The keycaps start off high near the top and gradually decline, eliminating the need for a kickstand. So instead, there are just 4 rubber feet behind the keyboard along with a Bluetooth switch. The RGB lighting is a really nice feature on this keyboard, but personally, I don't think it looks that good on the black keyboard. Mostly because all the keys are tightly grouped up together, not allowing any of the light to bounce back from the top plate. I personally think the RGB lighting looks way better on the white keyboard. Speaking of lighting, you can customize the keyboard using the software, which is actually surprisingly good. You can even set up macros, disable certain keys for gaming mode, and customize the lighting on here. They have a bunch of really cool effects to choose from, and the best part is that you can customize each key individually to any color you want. You can even customize the speed and the direction of the animation on certain effects. The fact that something like this is available for a keyboard within this price range is phenomenal. Also, if you guys want to see all the RGB lighting effects that you can choose from the software, I'll drop a link to a private video down below, and I go over all the RGB lighting effects. I didn't include it in this video because it would be way too long. Alright, now let's talk about the Bluetooth feature. So the keyboard can connect up to 3 separate devices simultaneously, and you can use the function Q, W, or E buttons to easily switch between them. In terms of battery life, I was getting a solid 8 hours of use from a full charge with the RGB lighting on, which is pretty good. The lighting does shut off on the keyboard after not using it for a minute, and that is to save battery life. However, the testing was done with the lighting on the entire time. With the standby feature, the keyboard can last up to 2 days from a full charge. If you're typing on this or playing casual games, then I would say it's fine to go wireless, but if you're playing competitively, I strongly recommend going wired. I regretted playing Siege almost immediately. I mean, there was noticeable latency, and it actually affected my performance in the game. It's not too bad, but it's enough where it will make a difference, so make sure to plug it in while gaming. The micro USB cable is detachable, which is always great if you need to travel and store them separately, or if you need to replace the cable when it gets worn out or damaged. However, the length is still too short. It's about 180 centimeters, which is not long enough to reach the back of my PC. But technically it is detachable, so I guess you can buy a longer cable, but you shouldn't have to. I don't know why these manufacturers don't make long cables with these keyboards. And finally, I do want to talk about the user experience with these keyboards because I feel like it might be a deal breaker for those people wanting to switch over to 60% keyboards, especially people coming from a full-size keyboard like I did. You're gonna experience a lot of frustration because you no longer have quick access to a lot of keys like the delete button, question mark, and the arrow keys, which I use frequently when I'm editing. If you want to use the arrow keys, then you have to press and hold the function key and then press shift, which will then switch the keyboard, enabling the use of the arrow keys. But then you have to switch it back just to use the question mark. Now, if you want to use the home key or any of the surrounding keys, you can hit the function and control keys to switch the keyboard once again. But personally, I find that very annoying, so I rather just hold the function key and press whatever key I want, instead of having to switch the entire keyboard just for a single press. And here are my final thoughts. I really enjoyed my time using the RK61. However, there are a few things that I didn't like about the keyboard. The first being the short USB cable, which I guess can be fixed by buying a longer cable, but I shouldn't have to. Number two, the aesthetics of the keyboard. I think it looks kind of messy with all that text crammed on the keycaps. I would have loved to see some of the legends on the side of the caps for a cleaner, minimalistic look. Number three, it's got no media buttons, which really sucks because I love listening to music while getting some work done, and doesn't have any dedicated buttons for that. And finally, the latency via Bluetooth. I would have loved to use this keyboard wirelessly in gaming, but the latency ruins it for me. And I get it, guys. There's a reason why these keyboards aren't in a premium price tag. All those features cost extra money, and it would raise the price of the keyboard. Being an editor, I found it very difficult using this keyboard because I'm so used to having dedicated buttons to press on the fly during an edit. For example, the delete key or the arrow keys to scrub through a timeline. I was loving my time with the keyboard during gaming, but as soon as I took it home to edit videos, I hated it. So if you guys can look past the negatives and you're in the market to buy a wireless 60% RGB mechanical keyboard under $100, then you should definitely check this out. For the price, it's got my vote. Now, if you want to use this for productivity, specifically editing videos, then I think that this keyboard would be great in combination with something like an Elgato Stream Deck, where you can customize shortcuts and macros for convenience. Otherwise, the keyboard just by itself just doesn't cut it. And as of my review, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll drop a link to the keyboards down below. I'm actually giving away the black one to a lucky subscriber. I'm keeping the white one for a special project I'm working on. So if you guys want to enter for a chance to win this black one, then all you guys got to do is leave a like on the video and comment below what you liked and didn't like about this keyboard. This is worldwide. You guys can live on planet Neptune, and I will find a way to ship it to you. I'll announce the winners a week later on my Instagram stories, so make sure you guys are following me there. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I love your faces, and I will see you very soon in the next one.